Welcome back to Retro Rebound. In today's video, we're kind of sort of going back to an older game. We are talking about Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3, but it's a mod for that game called Budokai Tenkaichi 4. And I know when you hear that name, you're like, yeah, that's a dream game. Wait, hold on, what are you talking about, Maddie? So I'm gonna break it all down for you, but this is not an official product. This is a mod created by a small team. And when I heard about it, I immediately rushed to go try it out because I thought, well, hold on. I've always wanted a Budokai Tenkaichi 4, and especially when I heard, oh, they're covering all of the Dragon Ball Super content, something I also really wanted. I had to check it out. And shout out to the Dragon Ball community in general. Not only have you all been super supportive of the videos that we make here on Dragon Ball, but also like the thumbnail we have with the box art, that's from the Dragon Ball community. I'll have that link in the description, the mod as well. Like, it's just a whole community effort here. It reminds me a bit of our Sonic videos where we made the Sonic PO6 video and even the creators saw it. Like, that was really cool. So just shout out to all of you lifting up our content. This is a lot of fun, and especially going back to those old Dragon Ball games makes it all worth it. So let's not delay any further. Y'all want to know about this, don't you? So if you're new here, you're into Dragon Ball content, nostalgic retrospective content, you're in the right place. Consider subscribing. Let's talk about Budokai Tenkaichi 4. So yeah, you hear this name and you go, what is this, Maddie? It is a mod from a small team that injects a lot of Dragon Ball Super content into Budokai Tenkaichi 3. So when you fire up the game, you still have all of the Budokai Tenkaichi 3 content, but now if you were to go into the story mode, you'll see your Saiyan saga, your Frieza saga, you'll see the Buu saga, all that good stuff that you already know and love. But then there it is, the Dragon Ball Super saga. And I click on it thinking, hey, what do we have here? And yep, in there is the Battle of Gods, Resurrection F. You have the Universe 6 tournament. You have the Universe Elimination tournament. You have the Goku Black arc. Like, it's all there. And there are cutscenes to boot, voice acting to boot, new character models, new moves. It's all there. It's like an expansion to the game you knew and loved. Now, Budokai Tenkaichi 2 is my favorite, but 3 I hold a lot of love for because that game's almost like the Smash Ultimate of the Dragon Ball franchise, right? It's just everyone is here. Everyone is here. And while I prefer Budokai Tenkaichi 2, like Budokai Tenkaichi 3 has such an impressive cast, and some may be copy and paste, but it's just awesome that everyone is there. And so when you take that and then you inject a bunch of super content into it, it's just, it fits. It makes so much sense. So I dive right in, no delays. I'm like, let's check out Battle of Gods. And yep, there it is. There's Beerus, there's Goku in his Super Saiyan God form, the red aura pouring out of him. It looks pretty good. There is one critique I would have, which is the Ultra Instinct has this very powerful, oppressive aura where it's not as quiet and subdued as it is in the shows. And I get it, right? They're working with the pretty much tool set that Budokai Tenkaichi 3 was built off of. It's a 2007 game, so I'm not going to judge it harshly, especially because it's a free product, for God's sakes. Come on now. It's awesome that it even exists. But I will just say I made note of that, where like the aura from Ultra Instinct is explosive for Goku, whereas when he's in his Super Saiyan God form, it makes a little bit more sense. But yeah, you're going one-on-one with Beerus, and I thought, okay, this is pretty cool. But then I start to hear the voice acting, and I'm like, oh, this is audio pretty much. It sounds like pulled straight from the show, but you can't hear the music from the show audio in the background. So somehow they got like the raw audio files. I have no idea if that's actually what happened. At least that's my interpretation of it. And yeah, like you'll have people talking over your fight as you're going at it, and you'll have Beerus and Goku having exchanges just like they did in the show or in the movie. I was stunned. I was stunned that there was full cutscene support here. And these missions will go on for a while, sometimes like broken up into many phases, and it can feel a little bit stretched out. Like you'll knock someone's health bar halfway down, and then they'll do a cutscene, it'll reset, then you'll knock it down a certain percentage again, then they'll do a cutscene, or you'll press the right thumbstick, and you'll kind of keep rinsing and repeating until you get to the KO. So some of these missions just feel very elongated, which I don't think is everyone's cup of tea. I don't remember that being the case in like the actual base game, but they're squeezing a lot into these missions, which I did think was cool. So for me, like Battle of Gods, not really my favorite. It's just more Dragon Ball content, another form for Goku. What I really wanted to get into was the actual Goku Black arc, because for those who don't know, when it comes to the Dragon Ball Super content, like that is my arc. Anything based around Trunks is my arc. There's a reason why I love Legacy of Goku 2. And it's not just because I think it's the best of that trilogy. It's also because it's based around the Cell saga. So here with the actual Goku Black arc, again, voice acting, new character models. There's this one Zamasu fight where you fight Fused Zamasu with Trunks, with Vegeta, with Goku. There they are in their Super Saiyan Blue forms now. I'm like, oh my God, everything that you could have asked for is here. Like, they even have models for when the outfit gets torn up in battle, when their health is low. I'm just impressed again by the level of effort and detail put into this free mod. And of course they couldn't sell it, that would never fly. But the fact that this exists with the Budokai Tenkaichi graphics is fascinating to me, because you look over at Xenoverse. I'll get back into the Goku Black arc in a sec, but hold on, I'm about to go on a tangent. You look at Xenoverse and you just pray that one day that Bandai will wake up and say, you know, it's so cool that we've supported this game for a long time, but what if we did something crazy, like made a sequel? Let's make Xenoverse 3. And I respect how long they've stuck with this game for, but personally, I'm tired of in every video game re-experiencing the Dragon Ball Z storyline. I think it's time for us to do a full game based on a new storyline. And I don't think it's a far cry to say, like, Dragon Ball Super is as relevant as Dragon Ball Z. Like, if you were to sell a mainline AAA Dragon Ball game, it would sell just fine even if it's not the Z storyline, because that was probably the one disappointing thing I can put my finger on with Kakarot. It was cool to get some redemption on some scenes that weren't animated well, but man, what would I do just to see a little bit of super content that's not DLC, that's not supplemental, but is actually the base of the game? Like, it starts with Battle of Gods and it ends with the Universe Survival arc. Like, is that too much to ask for? So this game is kind of an answer to that prayer, and I love it for that. Especially because, again, you get all the glorious special attacks, and there are plenty of them. Like, I was doing one fight between Hit and Topo, and I was getting my butt kicked, but I was doing a fight between Hit and Topo, and I paused the game and I looked at the skills, and like, there was everything for Hit. It was like the time prison, he had an energy blast, he just had everything. And I just thought it was so cool, again, that these characters were supported in this way. But perhaps what was the most awesome to me, and it's something I think outside of Smash Ultimate is supremely overlooked in fighting games, especially ones where their stages aren't mechanical, they just kind of exist as a backdrop, is that new stages. I love that when I fired this game up, I thought they were going to reuse maps from, you know, Budokai Tenkaichi 3, because it's enough that, you know, you made all the character models, the special moves. I think it's fair that, you know, we just fight on the same stages. But no, like, even down to the movies, you can go to the Dragon Ball Super Broly Ice Continent, and I fought there with Broly, and I fought Jiren. I mean, that was so cool. It brought me back, because one of the awesome things about Budokai Tenkaichi 3 that people may not know why we connected to it, among many things, is that roster was a conduit for dream fights. So you would go to a dream stage with a Dreamcast, and really, Dreamcast, wow, with a Dream Squad, maybe I should use that term instead, and you would fight it out. And so me seeing Broly and Jiren square off in the same place that in the movie it was Goku, Broly, and Vegeta was so cool. It was really nice to see. And like, yeah, you can even start playing some of the movie missions. So I was just tremendously impressed by how far and wide this is. Now, one thing you should know is that this is technically a beta. Like, it's not done yet, so that's why I offer little critiques here, because they are adding to it. And I imagine as they add to it, they're probably looking at the Dragon Ball Super superhero movie and thinking, well, maybe we could throw like Gamma 1, Gamma 2 in there, and as well as Orange Piccolo and Beast Gohan. That would be kind of fresh, wouldn't it? And there's tons of ways for them to support this game. But what I love more than anything is that it's all in the Budokai Tenkaichi engine. Like, there's so many other games that you could probably attempt to mod and support, but they actually created an expansion pretty much for Budokai Tenkaichi 3 and have just given it to fans for free. Now, there is a changelog on their website. The reason I don't really reference it here is because it is all in Spanish and I cannot read Spanish. So unfortunately, I cannot offer any insight on what's changing or what's coming up. But what I can say is like they've actually done it here. Like they added the story content, the voice acting, they added the moves, and it was great to just dive back into Budokai Tenkaichi 3. You see, this is a game that I think when you play as the very low tier characters feels pretty awful. Like I was reminded when playing this game again for the second time this year, this camera is atrocious. Like it can really get in the way. During the Trunks and Zamasu fight, it was like really clipping into the wall, and the limited stage kind of got in the way too, where I was like, man, yeah, this game is pretty old. But it was fun just to stun lock enemies, to combo them up, blast them across the stage, and also just have the fire returned, because that one fight where it was Fuse Zamasu, I should mention, with Trunks, Vegeta, Goku. Number one, I loved how seamless it was. Like when everyone was swapping in and out, it felt like it was at the right time. There were moments where it felt like the game was just kind of freezing to tell a cutscene, and there was some awkward animation. But otherwise, like this was one of those classic video game moments where you play it, you get your butt kicked big time, and you go, whoa, this game is tough. Now I was going in a little bit cold, so there is that little excuse to the side I could use, saying like, you know, I wasn't fully there in the terms of raw talent. But, you know, it's really nice, especially because as of the time of recording this video, I am working on holiday content. So I just came off of this Tenkaichi game. If you don't know Ultimate Tenkaichi, I believe truly it is the worst Dragon Ball game of all time. Like, no exaggeration. And it's funny, when I was doing research for this video, I was reading comments and I saw people saying in the comments like, oh, I'm such nostalgia for that game. Like, get out of here. You had a bad childhood. That's all I can tell you right now, because that's not a game to be nostalgic for. What you have to be nostalgic for is Budokai Tenkaichi 3. So it was nice to return to that with that kind of age-old fighting system and some of its cinematics and its kinks and jank and whatnot. But again, what I really got to shout out one more time is the dual mode, because once you unlock all these stages and you go through the story, the real bread and butter is like setting up screen sharing on Discord and playing this game with friends. I mean, you can do that through Discord, through Parsec. I mean, it was fresh to be like, yo, let's play Budokai Tenkaichi 4 together, right? You know, it's awesome that we could even do 3 online together through that method. But now with all these new characters, it's not just a fresh coat of paint. It's all these supers, it's all these characters, all of these stages, even the story content. And that was awesome. But more than anything, I have to commend the timing of the cutscenes, because there is that awkward like facial animation where the mouth just flickers when they're talking in Budokai Tenkaichi 3, and I'm like, all right, I'll accept it. But the timing of the lines, especially when you're fighting in the overworld, I really, really dug. And that's one thing that, of course, you already know, is there's no like open world in Budokai Tenkaichi 3. It's just, you know, going through the menus and starting up the fights, the main fights, and there's tons more that they've added. So I really do recommend you give it a look, because I think it's really cool that it even exists. And I just wanted to give it a shout out, because I noticed when I was returning, sometimes I, by the way, read the comments of older videos, so you might see me in there replying to even age-old videos, just because I like to interact with the community. And I was looking at the comments for Sonic P06, which the video did really well when I dropped that. And I recognized that like a lot of people love these types of mods that are spins on older games that they know and love. And I'm happy to always champion those, because over on my Mr. Matty channel, I create a lot of Bethesda content. And one thing I talk about a lot over there is Bethesda Game Studios mods, like for Fallout, for Elder Scrolls, and mostly Fallout, because a lot of the fans over there are like remaking games. I'll talk about Sky Oblivion a lot, which is a remake of Oblivion in Skyrim. But it's awesome to be able to find like a modding pocket that I didn't know existed. Like I always thought the modding for Bethesda communities spoke for itself, like it's huge, but I didn't know that it really went even into retro games. So I'm excited to just discover more like we have so far. And again, shout out to Budokai Tenkaichi 4 and the modding team. It's a really cool game. So with that, those are my thoughts on Budokai Tenkaichi 4. Just wanted to pass them off here, see what you all think. Have you played it? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm really excited to read your thoughts and see what the Dragon Ball community is feeling about this one. Other than that, take great care of yourselves. And with that, I will see you in the next Retro Rebound. Peace out.